Yo, what's good, YouTube? This is Jay from TNJ, and welcome back to the Houston Texans Franchise here for the Season 1 Draft Preview Show. Now, if you follow my Jet series, welcome back. And if you're new to my channel, in the Jet series, I had 4 draft classes. And now in this series, I will combine them all into one class. So here in Season 1, this will be a carryover from that franchise. So let's just get into the top players. All these players were included in our Whitetail series or our River Cat series in NCAA 14. And also, we have a couple of guys from the Jet series as well that were rookies in their respective draft classes. So let's just hop into it and check out the quarterbacks. The top overall projected #1 prospect is going to be Brent Thompson out of Ohio State. He was a Heisman Trophy winner. He is a very mobile quarterback and also has a very strong arm. I think that this guy is going to be very, very good. In fact, in the Jet series, he actually won the Super Bowl his rookie season. So we're going to reset all of that. So he's going to be probably get assigned a new team and start out fresh here in this series. I'm really, really excited to have this guy come over to the Next Gen series and see what he can do. I mean, he's going to be a guy that's going to be a mobile quarterback. He's not going to be exactly Lamar Jackson, but he can move when he needs to. The next rated quarterback is going to be Justin D'Alberto, probably the most accurate all-around quarterback, and he actually did win a national championship and honestly one of the best quarterbacks we've seen on this channel. And Justin D'Alberto is a very good thrower of the football from the pocket. That's where he's going to get his damage done, but he can also move a little bit. He's not going to be a scrambler, but he can get out of the pocket and do what he needs to do. But you can just see these throws are right on the money. Excellent throw power on them. He knows when to put some on it, when to take some off. That's just his calling card. He's just got an all-around accurate arm. He also can throw the deep ball, as you can see right there, to Francis Smith. Now, the next quarterback rated in this draft is going to be Chance Tyree. He was our quarterback for a Super Bowl run with the Jets, and now here he is back for this draft class. Now, the one knock on him is that his inconsistency really did hurt him. And in college, he didn't have to throw the ball a ton. He was an option quarterback. He ran the ball quite a bit, but he definitely threw the ball pretty well when he did have to throw. So I think that Tyree is going to have a great career in the NFL, and we'll have to see what team he goes to next. Next is going to be Dunn Carmichael. I think Dunn Carmichael is kind of a mystery to a lot of scouts. Big time arm, and he can make those throws down the football field, pushing the ball for sure against defenses, and that is going to be his calling card, to be honest. Like, he can throw the deep ball better than anybody in this class, and he's got the big strong arm. He's got the strongest arm as well, and then he's big. He's 6'7". I mean, scouts love that. Love the size, and they think that they can develop him into something really, really special and maybe even be the best quarterback in this draft class. Next is Pat Perez out of Missouri Tech. A very good pocket passer. He's not going to hurt you with his legs very often. I mean, he is much of let me get it done from the pocket type of quarterback. If I have to use my legs, I will, but it's not his strong suit. And I think that Pat Perez will actually be a very good quarterback right away. I think that he can fit a system that, you know, is a kind of a West Coast conference where he doesn't have to throw the ball down the field all the time, but, you know, uses the play action, throws to the slot guy a lot, uses tight ends. I think that that's kind of the offense that fits him, but he can throw the ball down the field occasionally, like that throw we've seen right there. But Pat Perez is going to be a very good rookie quarterback, in my opinion. I think he's got a pretty good start to him. Now let's talk about a guy that's going to need some development probably. Now, Christian Gray did win the Heisman Trophy, but very, very raw as a pro prospect because he did run kind of a system that fit him a whole lot. It was a spread system, but I didn't see a lot from him under center, and that's what you see coming to the NFL now. These quarterbacks have to learn how to play from the pocket, play under center, because being in the shotgun all the time, it's helpful, especially in college. But once you transition to the NFL, you have to eventually go under center. So I think that Christian Gray, very mobile quarterback. He ran for 20 touchdowns, threw for 20 touchdowns in his final season at USC. He's going to have a little bit of a learning curve, but I think if he goes to the right system, it's going to fit. Now let's run over to the running backs. J.J. Hollinson is number one. He won the Heisman Trophy winner. He is a playmaker. I mean, that's just what he is. You give him the ball, he's going to break tackles. He's got excellent vision, and he is going to be the top running back, I believe, in this draft selected. The last time we saw this before, J.J. Hollinson was one of the top-rated running backs. He fell to the second round. Will that happen again? I'm not sure, but right now he's projected as a first-round draft pick. Hollinson is very good at catching the ball, too. He definitely showed that, even though his ratings in NCAA 14 said he could not catch the ball. But here, in this series, I think he's going to be a very good guy that can catch the ball in the backfield. And then that moves us over to Justin Parrish, a guy that is a sure thing catching the ball in the backfield. That's his kind of calling card if you were to give him one. That's his strength. I kind of compare him a little bit to the old Le'Veon Bell with speed, though. And I think that, he is going to be a guy that's going to hit home runs with ease because he's got that elite speed, but he also is very good at running routes out of the backfield. Now let's talk about the best college running back I've probably ever seen on my channel. Robbie Richardson, man, was he good. We had the honor of playing him 3 times in his career and for the Whitetails, and I think this guy is just going to be such a good prospect. And a lot of people like to compare him to Christian McCaffrey. I don't. I kind of like to compare him a little bit to, remember Ahmad Bradshaw? Remember how good he was? I really liked Ahmad Bradshaw quite a bit for the New York Giants. I like Robbie Richardson too. I mean, he can kind of do it all, and I think that he's a guy that really has excellent vision, and honestly can break tackles, always fighting for extra yards. He can break off the long one. I really, really like him, and I think that he's a guy that can contribute day one to a team that needs a little bit of a running game. Now, Roy Toth is a big-time player. He has speed, he has size, he has quickness. The only real comparison I can bring up for him is Derrick Henry. I mean, that is just an animal of a running back. He's tough to take down. Roy Toth is the same way. I mean, the guy has excellent vision. Look at that. He just runs over our safety on that play and then takes it to the house. It's funny because, people would like to look at Derrick Henry as being this, big power back, but he's got speed. I mean, if he gets to the open field, he's going to be gone. And that's kind of what Roy Toth brings to the table as well. Then there's Dwayne Lincoln coming over from the Jets series. I wonder where he's going to go. This time he's rated a little bit higher and now projected to be in a late second, early third round pick. Then we have some other guys, Deion Carter, Adam Gutierrez, and Ray Williams are also still in this draft. So let's move quickly over to receivers. Now, the top overall receiver is Zeke Timberlake. Scouts are considering him to be a once-in-a-generation receiver, kind of the back to the Amari Cooper. Remember, Amari Cooper was rated pretty high. Calvin Johnson was rated pretty high. Other guys like that were rated pretty high, and I think that Timberlake has a chance to be that good along with Julio Jones, guys like that are rated extremely high, and I think that he is going to have a very, very good career. Now next, let's look at, this is actually Xavier Storm, and I actually showed Marlon Yarbrough there, but Xavier Storm is also going to be in this class. Very, very good. He actually broke Marlon Yarbrough's records. That's why we showed both of them there, because Marlon Yarbrough is the second-rated receiver in this class, but Xavier Storm right behind him. Now, the fourth-rated prospect in the receiver class is Zane Storm, his little brother. Now, Zane Storm has speed. That is his biggest strength. Now, he's going to have to work on that route running, but going deep, that's definitely going to be a strength of his right away in the NFL. Then let's move over to defense, and we look at Trevor Banks. He is a very good defensive end, very good at getting after the passer. He can elude left tackles with ease, use his strength, use his finesse. He's going to do it all for a defense, and I can't wait to see what team he goes to. He was actually a #1 overall pick in our Jets franchise. Now, J.J. Taylor is very, very good. A good defensive tackle that can also play the probably the 5 technique, to be honest. He's that athletic. He's also big. So watch out for him at the pro level. He's going to make an impact right away. I think this draft is going to be very, very good on a defensive line, and that's where we move to Jonathan Thousand. Honestly, an undersized defensive tackle, much like Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald isn't like big or anything like normal defensive tackles, but just the technique, just the skill. I think he's going to be very, very good at the next level. Now let's get to edge rushers really quick. Brad Matthews coming over from the Jets series. Very, very good pro prospect, and we drafted him in the first round. Now, I do have a rule here in this series. I will not get anybody that we had on the team in our Jets series, so I want to put them in the draft class, but we won't be getting those players in this franchise. And that's where we move over to a man in the middle. Victor Dimitronkos, one of the best middle linebackers in this class, and could be one of the best middle linebackers in this entire series, to be honest with you. He's that type of player. He's an impact guy. He just flies around the field, 6'5". He is huge, along with Brian York, who also is just as big. But these two are definitely the top 2 middle linebackers. York was such a good 4-year player. He forced fumbles. He caught interceptions. He got in the backfield for sacks. I mean, he did it all for that River Cats team, where they eventually went on to win a national championship or 2. And then Brian York is going to be, just as good as Victor Dimitronkos. Maybe Victor Dimitronkos is going to be starting out a little bit better. Then there's 2 other linebackers that we had from the River Cats series. That's going to be Odin Blue and Javon Warren. Odin Blue was kind of a late round pick. Remember in that series, he kind of declared early after one good year and then went on to the NFL. But we are going to see what happens here in this series. I'm not really sure what's going to happen there, but I do like him coming out of college as well. So other guys from our series, DeAndre Waddle will be coming over from the Jets series. We drafted him early on in the first round as well in that series, I believe in season number 2. And now we move on to Jason Robinson, the best overall prospect in this draft. A lot of experts are predicting that he could go number 1 overall and be, another cornerback that goes number 1. And then there's Bryant Britt from the River Cats, Von White from the Jets series, and then we move on to Dylan DiRoberto, who is absolutely a sleeper prospect in my opinion. They have him rated as a 5th round talent. I don't agree. I think he is a guy that's going to be a big impact player at the next level. I think he can make plays with the best of them. He does take chances quite a bit. He's going to have to kind of maybe tone that down in the NFL, but I think in college he definitely made an impact, made plays on the ball, came up with interceptions and turnovers when he needed to. I think he's a very good player, and he will have an immediate impact on a defense. Now, Nathan Beaver is the top-rated safety. Man, was he good in the Jets series. He played on the Dolphins in that series, and he's going to have a chance to really, really make another impact here in this one. And to be honest, Beaver, he can play both sides of the ball. If you really want to line him up in the Wildcat, he can do it. He can force fumbles on defense. He's going to pick off the ball quite a bit. He is a ball hawk, and we'll see what he does here in this series. I'm excited to see him on defenses. And then there's Alex Hopkins. Like I said, we won't be going after any of our old Jets drafted players, but Alex Hopkins is coming over from Temple, and he was very, very good in college, very good in the Jets series. And if you haven't checked out that series, go ahead and do it. It was on old gen, so it's not in new gen, but I'm excited to see what our old players do in this series and see the type of impact they make on the teams they get drafted by. So now to wrap this up, we have one more player to look at. This is Lee Larson from the Whitetails. Now, this was not from our Whitetails series. This was from our River Cat series, but played on the Whitetails. And he was very good at getting to the football. He actually led the NCAA 3 times in interceptions. That's how good he was. And when we played him, he had 2 interceptions in that game. I mean, he is that good of a player. And honestly, we tried to get around him on that throw. Did not work. So Lee Larson coming over, he's going to be a very, very good pro prospect. Now, one more game left in the season where we take on the 3-12 Tennessee Titans. I would have never thought that they would be this bad in this series, but they had a down year. I guess it happens from time to time. We're going to see. They're going to have an early first-round pick, so watch out for them in the first couple of picks. So here are the Titans here starting it out on offense. Let's get into some quick highlights, and that is J.J. Watt in the backfield. Could this be his last known play as a Texan? Getting the tackle, jumping over a defender or an offensive lineman, and getting in the backfield. And that one gets him in the backfield. Now we take it to the fourth quarter already. Here now in a 10-10 game. Here's a throw to the right side, and that is going to be caught by David Johnson out of the backfield. So here's Watson now under center at the 25. Play action fake, move it to left side, throws on the run, and he's got Isaiah Coulter. Touchdown in the end zone. There we go. The rookie out of Rhode Island. What kind of impact is he going to make in the future? I'm excited about the future of this receiving core. Kiki QT, Isaiah Coulter, and then we still have Brandon Cooks and Will Fuller. We're going to have to make some decisions there. It's going to be interesting. So here's Darren Fells getting going. He is the elder statesman in this receiving core. Actually, he's a tight end. And now we get it to the one. Handoff. David Johnson falls into the end zone. It is going to be a touchdown. Now a 2-score lead here in the fourth. And here comes Tannehill back out with one more shot. Down by 2 scores. They have all 3 timeouts, but under 2 minutes left. Tannehill, 4th and 13. Gets hit on the throw. This one's a duck. And it ends up being knocked away from A.J. Brown. And I believe that was Vernon Hargreaves who does get undercuts him on that one. And we do end up going on to winning that game 24-10. Very good victory to end the season. And we end up with 7 wins. We actually started off the season with 4 wins. When we started at week 13, we actually ended up winning 3 out of the last 4. So very good ending to this season. And J.J. Watt had 2 sacks in this game, and we barely miss the playoffs. And that's the way I wanted to do it. I wanted to make it so that we start at week 13 here in this series and then see where we end up. We came up 1 win short of the playoffs. The Colts win the division at 8-8. Now the Chiefs win 15-1. They are on top of the AFC. The Packers are on top of the NFC, I believe. And then looking at the other teams, a bunch of 8-8 teams made it. The Chargers, Eagles, and then one more other team made it as well. That's a lot of 8-8 teams that make the playoffs. So let's just get into some stats here and just take a look at how our players did. Now, most of these stats were from the sim season up to week 13, and we kind of took over from there. But David Johnson ended up 100 yards short of an 1,000-yard season. I'm surprised he actually didn't get there because we had a couple of games at the end there that he was over 100 yards, and I wonder what he was doing in the previous games because we really had a pretty good last few games with David Johnson. Brandon Cooks is the only receiver to make it over 1,000 yards. He only had 3 touchdowns, but a very good season from him. But how about the season from Kiki QT? He was about 21 yards short of a 1,000-yard season. He had 5 touchdowns as well. Darren Fells led us in touchdowns, though. He was actually close to a 1,000-yard season as well, about 170 yards short. And Isaiah Coulter, very, very good season for him. We played mostly in the slot. I like Coulter in the slot. I think he can have a real future there. And then David Johnson had 3 touchdowns receiving as well. Jordan Akins, he had 12 receptions, had a touchdown. And then our fullback also had a touchdown as well. Nobody else really had a really big impact. So our offensive line actually didn't play bad when we played with them. I was pleasantly surprised. Even though how badly rated they are, we actually did pretty well. Laramie Tunzel and Titus Howard gave up the most sacks at tackle. And then Sharping, Fulton, and our other offensive linemen really didn't play too bad. I was very, very shocked to see that they weren't giving up too bad a pressure all the time. So maybe something to build off of there. I don't know. These last few games were meant for talent evaluation more than anything. I didn't want to exactly try to win the Super Bowl here in this first season or do something crazy like that. I really wanted to just get a good gauge of like what this roster looks like. And I do have a good idea, especially on defense. I think that we have some guys that will really blossom into something really good, like Keon Crossan. I really like him. He is a very fast cornerback. I believe he has 96 speed, but very, very good in coverage. I got to admit that. And then obviously finding out about Blacklock, how good he is. He's going to be a staple of this defensive line. And Minahu is very good as well. And then how about Lonnie Johnson? He had 2 interceptions in these last few games. Lonnie Johnson is a former cornerback. I think we're going to move him back over to cornerback, because we could be potentially losing some guys in free agency, because going into free agency, you'll see the cap in the offseason video. It is literally terrible. I mean, we literally have like $5 million to spend. That's enough for maybe a decent player, like maybe like a 70, less than 75 overall player, and a guy that's actually in his 30s. Like right now, it has to be in his 30s, because otherwise, if they're, you know, in their 20s, they're going to demand way more than $5 million, and we don't have more than $5 million to spend. Like, our cap is so bad, and I didn't even realize that our cap is bad and our draft picks are bad. We're going to have to make the best out of a messy situation. So we'll have to see how that offseason is going to go. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what we do. Our cap room is definitely going to kind of handicap us going into the offseason. So we do miss the offseason 7-9 record, but I'm excited to see what this team will do in the future. Let's see. Let's go on this journey together. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Hit subscribe. Hit that like button. Stay tuned. Let's get it. Let's go.
Wave. I'm in it for keepsake. In the field with the cleat lace. Beat flick with the bare face and a slick tongue. That's what she say. She look good. She a big tease when she bite lip with the wink face. Hella bad when she throwing it back. She bring that my way for the team play. For Pete's sake, I'm above average. I padded my stats. I gotta matter what he say.